Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you could help me out and give this video a thumbs up, it would be much appreciated. And you can also as well tap the notification bell so that you can be notified when there's a new video from Olly's farm. And in today's video, I wanted to talk to you about a very important matter which is currently in the news regarding farming. There was an article I read in The Guardian about how the farm subsidy plan here in the UK is going to risk increasing the UK's reliance on food imports. So at the moment, where does our food come from here in the UK? Well, a lot of farmers work really hard around the country to produce your food, whether that might be dairy for your milk or cheese, whether that's beef for your roast dinners, or pork for maybe if you like a bacon sandwich or roast pork at the weekends. Farmers work tirelessly throughout the year, and you've also got arable farmers as well who work the land. It would be great if we could continue to farm in an ideal world, farming producing food, because at the end of the day the population in the UK is 70 million now and rising, and it's becoming very difficult for farmers to feed the population because we've got such a large population in relation to our land mass. We've only got a relatively small land mass in comparison with our population size, and with the amount of new developments of houses which I've seen recently, and with the implication of renewable energy plants such as anaerobic digestion, we're losing a lot more of the productive arable land, and then at the same time our population's growing. So we've got an increasing population and a reduction in the land mass used to produce food. So we've got less land, more people. And so the government's coming out with a new subsidy plan to subsidise farmers. It's really, really difficult, as I'm sure you might have seen on the Amazon hit TV show, Clarkson's Farm. It's very difficult to make money out of farming here in the UK. That's mainly because the costs are so high. Your costs are up here, and actually what you get for your product is staying the same for the crop. It's not going up in relation to what the cost of farming actually is. And so perhaps we need to look at other ways of farming in order to keep going. I've noticed recently that Jeremy Clarkson is opening hopefully a restaurant. He's got a farm shop as well. And Jeremy's justification for that is that he can't make enough money from the farm in order to keep the business going. And what a fantastic idea to have a farm shop and to have a restaurant through the success of the Amazon show. That's a real entrepreneur, and it's really sad actually to see recently that he's having some planning difficulties there. So I hope Clarkson gets his restaurant. I hope the farm shop goes really well, because at the end of the day he's working really hard to make that business work. Shout out to Caleb as well, his co-star. He's doing really well at the moment. So we have got to look at lots of different ways of how we can make money here in farming in the UK, and it's really interesting just going through what the MPs are currently talking about potential farm subsidy plan. From what we can gather, it looks as though the government is promoting things like the ELM scheme, the ELM schemes being of course environmental land management schemes in order to help and benefit the environment. And I think there's a fine line at the moment between benefiting the environment and feeding the country, and it's a really difficult one, because is it going to be possible in the future to be able to feed the country whilst at the same time also looking after the environment? And we're also looking at other ways of how we can feed the population at the moment. There has been some adverts on the Olly's Farm YouTube page. I did watch one last night just when a video was uploaded, and it was a picture of a cow, and in the advert the narrator says that this cow could be gotten rid of. We don't need this cow, and you could instead switch to a bean burger or an alternative burger. I believe the advert was Beyond Meat, and they were talking about cows and burgers and how basically we might not need cows. But it was a bit of a shame in the advert to not have seen an argument for the cows. How was the cow raised? Was it from a sustainable source? Was it grass-fed on land which couldn't otherwise be used for arable production? You know, was the cow actually benefiting the environment? That's what I'd like to see a little bit more of in the UK, is could we look at farming, can we look at what we're producing and actually think, well, this is something which is benefiting the environment. For example, our beef and lamb on the farm, they graze the Norfolk Broads in the summer, and then they come in the winter and they're fed on silage which we produce down at the Norfolk Broads, and we couldn't use the Broads for arable production. It's very difficult to farm wheat, or it's very difficult to farm oilseed rape down there as well. And with talks about extending the ELM schemes, environmental land management, is there a way we can incorporate livestock more going into the future into environmental land management schemes? Could we promote native breeds such as the red poll cattle which we've got on this farm, some shorthorns for example, and promote locally produced grass-fed beef? Because it's one thing I never seem to see in the mainstream news or on adverts before Olly's Farm talking about plant-based burgers. You know, I never see any native grass-fed breed adverts. That would be great, and I don't suppose we ever will, because they're quite a niche market, but they are actually really good for the environment, and maybe that's the model we should be following. Locally produced grass-fed beef and lamb, helping the environment and also producing some food. At the moment it seems to be one or the other. It's either intensive factory farmed beef, which is not good for the environment, and you have to go over to the plant-based option, which is a must, and that's something you must do. But there's not really much in the middle, and it's such a shame to see that, because there is a really good argument for locally produced grass-fed beef and lamb, which actually benefits the environment. And I think that will be the future. If we can make it work, promote grass-fed beef and lamb, things like sustainable arable systems which operate on high rotations of multiple crops to benefit the soil biome, to protect against soil erosion on lighter lands, like on our farm here for example. If we could demonstrate that we can be sustainable whilst at the same time producing food, I think that will be a great future. And we're never going to be able to feed, I think, at the moment, the population, whilst going down the sustainable route as well. I think what that's going to mean for the future is that we will still be able to farm. It is a huge shame that, we do have things like these adverts before Olly's farm videos when they're talking about we don't need cows. I think in life, we need to see both sides of the argument, and then we can make up our own decisions. We need to gather all of the facts, what's actually gone in to produce this animal or this crop, whatever it might be, and then reach a conclusion, and perhaps it might be quite good for the environment. So there's some bad news and there's also some good news. I think in 2022 we need to be as positive as possible, promote environmentally sustainable crops and beef and lamb. I'm sure a lot of people enjoy beef and lamb and chicken or pork, whatever it might be. And at the same time, if you enjoy the plant-based alternative, enjoy that. I believe everybody should be free to do what they like, within reason, and try and get both sides of a story. What they're talking about with the future farm subsidies is that we're going to be paid for benefiting the environment and farming less intensively, while somewhere else in the world they're going to be increasing the intensity of their farming production. And it could be in somewhere like South America, it could be in North America, Canada. And as I saw in a programme with David Attenborough the other day, just at the weekend, they are decimating parts of the Amazon rainforest, destroying habitats, and we could potentially be contributing to that if we reduce our intensity here. Whichever way we look at it, somewhere in the world, somewhere is going to be farmed very intensively. And I suppose, at the end of the day, globally, the world can only support so many people, and maybe we are, as a world, as a planet, getting a little bit overpopulated. And one thing which is very interesting is that without commercial agriculture and without modern farming methods, 2/3 of the world's population would not be alive today. So we do need things like herbicides, fungicides, pesticides, GM crops, because if it wasn't for that, there simply just wouldn't be as many people around. We would have mass starvation, we'd have many, many problems in the world, famine and terrible problems. So we do really need to thank farmers and be grateful for them more and more. So it is a difficult one. For us on this farm, we'll be trying to farm environmentally, sustainably, whilst also at the same time continuing to farm into the future. We don't want to be one side, we just want to be coming towards the middle if we can, and I think if we can do that, we'll be really happy and it'll be a good solution for the future. Let me know what you think about this topic in today's video. I'd love to hear from you, hear your feedback. I always enjoy reading the comments, and as always, if you could give this video a thumbs up, it would be much appreciated, and stay positive, and I will catch you on the next one.